Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to a new episode of Song Releases, and album releases in this case. I'm Donna, and today we are here with Miss Jennifer Alvarado. How are you doing?
I'm great. I hope you are.
Absolutely. It's wonderfully hot here in Florida. Muggy, though, so I guess it's its normal hotness. But I know the rest of the country's all like super hot everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's been, I wouldn't say miserable because, I try to take it in stride, but yeah, it's been pretty rough around here too. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully everyone gets back to cooler temperatures and normalcy. Maybe we can get some reduction in heat in the global warming. That would be great. Just saying. Well, so tell us now. You have an album that just came out, and this was on July 24th. And you told me before we started talking that was also your birthday. So happy belated birthday!
thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so actually this album or this project is called Songbird and I'm releasing it into two parts. So part one came out on the 24th. Part two is probably going to come out late September, early October. But yeah, I wanted to release it as we got closer to the release date. I really felt like it needed to be released in two parts. Because it's a very autobiographical for me, but not all of it, but most of it. And I sort of wanted to release it in pieces so that each song could have its moment. Because I think now with music being so fast paced, it's, you know, out and then out completely. And so I wanted each song to sort of be able to be heard. But I released it on my birthday, which I actually share a birthday with my grandmother who passed away when I was 10. And she was the one that got me into country music. She was the one that told me I could be a singer, all those things. And so with this album being kind of me finding my voice and my stride with the music, it just felt right to say, okay, I'm dedicating this to her and I'm going to release this for her, because this is an album about my truth and about the healing process and sort of everything that's happened over the past few years.
It's beautiful. And I will say, I'm glad that you released some new music because I was super excited when I heard about that it was coming out. And then obviously I've had a chance to listen to all the songs, and it's a this first part is a great project, great album to start with. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So let's talk about the first song off the album here. And
Okay.
that is Rock This Way.
Yes.
It's definitely a fun song. It's definitely upbeat, and y'all get to hear a little bit after we chat here. So go ahead,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about it.
Well, good. I'm glad that you think it's fun. That was the whole purpose of it. I wanted to have fun with this song. I actually wrote this song a couple years ago. Um, I had been going through kind of a dry season of writing, and I sat down and wrote 5 or 6 songs that day, and this was one of them. And I sort of just threw it to the side, like, okay, whatever, because it was one of those songs that I had challenged myself to write, from a because I had gone through this whole thing of like writing these really sappy, sad songs, and it was like I need to write a happy song. Like I need to try to write something that isn't, bawling your eyes out. So and one of the things I like to do is either pick a word from the dictionary, or in this case, I wanted to write a song kind of based around all of my favorite classic rock songs that meant something that I grew up listening to. And so I really wanted to give these little nods to all these different songs and see how many I could actually throw into a song, and lyrically and contextually it actually makes sense. So that was sort of the way I wrote that. And then after we were working on this album, and honestly it was kind of depressing. Like the album was so depressing that I was like, okay, we gotta throw some fun things in. And really, like, it represents the beginning of that of relationship where you're getting to know each other, and like there's no fear of anything, and like you're just wanting to jump in. And so that's really what this song is about. It's just about being carefree and being in love and enjoying music and all those things. So
Well, it's a great song. And so did you have a specific area when you were writing this that you were like, oh, I love this area? Obviously, I know usually we say the hook is what grabs us all, right? But was there a certain lyric or something that you were like, I love that lyric? That's just a great lyric.
Honestly, I think the bridge, the "Oh my," because Tom Petty is like just way up there on my list of greats. And and one of my favorite songs is "Last Dance with Mary Jane," and just the "Oh my, oh hell yeah." And so I think just that section, because it's always fun to sing, and two, like people pick up on that song very easily. And so that's one thing that I love about it, is playing it out and everybody's sort of like bopping back and forth. And it's like, I don't see that with a lot of my other songs because most of them are ballads. So it would be kind of weird. So it's fun to see just the crowd and how they react to it.
Wonderful. All right. So we'll give you guys a little sneak peek here, and we'll be back soon.
Train moving on down the track, too scared to look forward, don't wanna look back, like a bird free falling in a neon sky. We were born to take it easy on a sweet slow ride, like a burned out jukebox still plays rock and roll. Your love soothes my soul. We're gonna rock this way to the beat, steady as a drum. We're gonna prove us right and prove them wrong, and we keep on keeping on, like your favorite song playing on the radio and singing out at the top of your lungs. We're gonna rock this way to love. Don't let the sound of your wheels while they're turning ever drive you crazy. You gotta keep on, never stop believing and holding me, baby. Walk this way while you give me a kiss. Can you handle this? We're gonna rock this way to the beat, steady as a drum. We're gonna prove us right and prove them wrong, and we keep on keeping on, like your favorite song playing on the radio and singing out at the top of your lungs. We're gonna rock this way to love. You don't have to cry no more. I'm coming home to you. And oh my, I'm singing this song for you. We're gonna rock this way to the beat, steady as a drum. We're gonna prove us right and prove them wrong, and we keep on keeping on, like your favorite song playing on the radio and singing out at the top of your lungs. We're gonna rock this way. We're gonna rock this way to the beat, steady as a drum. We're gonna prove us right and prove them wrong, and we keep on keeping on, like your favorite song playing on the radio and singing out at the top of your lungs. We're gonna rock this way. We're gonna rock this way. We're gonna rock this way to love.
So I hope everyone enjoyed the little snip there. Make sure you'll see the links in the description. Make sure you go to Jennifer's page and check out her newest music. And obviously streaming on Spotify, purchase it. Okay.
Yes, all those things. I was greatly appreciative.
Oh, so the cool thing about this album is, like you said, it's going to be coming out in 2 pieces. So that gives the first set of songs that are on there, they're kind of their time to check them out and enjoy them and then learn about them. Now, out of this first set, I'm going to ask before we go forward, was there any one song out of these songs that you were like, this is my favorite? I mean, I know songs are always your babies when they come out, but was there one in particular that you're like, oh, this is definitely...
Yeah, well, okay, so I can answer that a few different ways. I would say production wise, and just how it turned out, Questions is actually probably when I heard it, when I got back the master of it, because you go in and you record this part and you record this part and you just kind of layer it up like a cake, and but you don't hear the mix until everything's back together. And so when I heard it with the person that did the bass line is phenomenal, and he added that bass line in, and he was playing a 5-string bass, and it came down on that one note, and I was like, yes. And so with that said, so when I heard it all together, I was just like, I actually burst into tears, and it was like a good bursting into tears, because it was exactly the way I had envisioned it. Because I think I don't know if everybody's like this. I always think of something else I could do with it. And this is the first one. Like, I think of how I could remix it and all these different things. And with this one, it was like, no, like this one came out exactly how I want it to, all of those things. So
that's beautiful. And it's a great song too.
I will say that one's probably my favorite at this point.
Wonderful. I can't say I have a favorite yet. I'm kind of biased. I like them all yet. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be those days where you'll be like, no, this one's my favorite today. Tomorrow I'll listen to the album and be like, no, this one's my favorite today. And yeah. So, but I would like to talk about one of the other songs on there, since you said this is kind of about your life. How did the story of the song Curious come about?
So when I said that most things are autobiographical, this was one that really... I don't know. Well, I mean, I think everybody can relate to being in a relationship, especially if you were friends with a guy and you both, you like each other, there's those feelings there. And especially the more you get to know somebody and you start to really love them and care for them. I think it's natural to have those feelings. And so that's really what the song is about. I was watching a movie, and it was called Love Hard or something like that. And it was basically this movie where the guy catfishes this girl, and she like goes across the country because they've had this relationship going on over the phone where she thinks he's somebody else. And then she meets him and she's like, how dare you? But then in the process of that, they actually realize that even though they didn't look like who they thought they were, like those feelings, those deep connections from talking at night and all those things, like those were real. And so I think for me, like that's what this song is. It's just about being in that friendship and that relationship and knowing that you want more, you both want more, but you're also terrified because maybe you're in relationships with somebody else, maybe you've been hurt, whatever the situation is. And so it's trying to be vulnerable and be strong at the same time. And yeah, so it's just that constant like tightrope walk.
Yeah. And it tells a good story. And that's why I wanted to ask about it, because I'm like, well, because obviously you said that came from a movie, and it's amazing how many times writers get ideas from something someone says, something someone told them, a movie, a book, whatever. And it's just finding that inspiration in general. So that's just a great way to find that inspiration, I think. So
yeah.
All right. So we'll give you a little listen of Curious. Here it is.
I can see you looking at me from across the room. With every single glance I get a little more confused. You shouldn't want me, I shouldn't want you. All of our reasons, we follow the rules, but all I keep dreaming about is me with you. Are you curious where this is going? Curious, I think you should know that when it comes to me and you, I don't know what to do, but I'm curious about you. Yeah, I know that we both agree that we should just be friends, but when our late night conversations get deep, I can't pretend. 'Cause I know you want me, you know I want you. Forget the boundaries, let's break our own rules. All I keep thinking about is me with you. Are you curious where this is going? Curious, think you should know that when it comes to me and you, I don't know what to do, but I'm curious about you. About you. One touch and I won't know what to do. One kiss will quick we need to do. And if our guards all came down and we don't try to stop this now, do you ever wonder what could happen to? Are you curious? Are you curious? Are you curious where this is going? Curious, think you should know that when it comes to me and you, I don't know what to do, but I'm curious about you. Got me thinking about us. Got me thinking about you. Got me thinking about me and you. About you. Got me thinking about us. Got me thinking about you. Got me thinking about me and you.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the music. So, tell us what you like, what you think of the songs in the link in below, and all the comments. Leave some good comments for Jennifer.
Thank you.
So, so the next song I'd like to talk about, if you don't mind, is "Something's Up." I loved
Yeah.
I love that the relationship song like that. So it was just nice to see that because I think everyone's experienced that in a relationship at one point or another. So you want to tell everyone a little bit about it?
Yeah, so um, I tend to write from a standpoint of relationships. I think because everybody has been through a relationship at some point, and so I think that people understand it more when it's based on a relationship of some sort. And so actually, this song was written about I was in a job situation where I was kind of being led on, you know, just those carrots dangling, and you keep going after them, and it's like there's nothing there when you get there. And so that's really where the basis of this song came from. That you know you're being lied to, you know that you're not getting the full story and the truth, and you're being played. Um, and what better way to describe that than this like horrible relationship where somebody's cheating on you and all of this, and you're being compared to like all these other people. So yeah, that's really what it's about and where it came from. Um, I mean, I have in the past had relationships like this, unfortunately. But in this case, that's really where that song came from. It was my way of expressing like everything that was going on with this job, and um, just being led on and being led to
Yeah.
believe that you're going to be the one in the position or whatever, and then you're not. So
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think it was a great way to demonstrate the toxic relationship of it. No matter what the situation, again, whether it was work or whatever, but it just made perfect sense to make that into that it was just showing the toxic relationship of it, you know? So yeah.
well, and that's really what I wanted this album to show. So first, the part one is actually called Questions. I
Mhm.
call it Questions, and then part two is Answers. Um, and for me, like, I wanted to build the story. I wanted people to understand, like, yeah, it started out good. Like, this
Mhm.
toxic thing that I went through, like, yeah, it started out good. Everything was promised. It looked wonderful. And then you start to see all these little things creeping in with something's up. And you start to realize, like, it's not what you thought it was. And that's really where, like, Filthy Water came from, too, of just that narcissistic
Mhm.
toxicity that, like, just pulls the life out of you and makes you start
Yes.
thinking like, what is this? So yeah, that's really why I wanted to build it in parts, because I wanted
Mhm.
the questions to be understood. Like, this is how you feel once you've gone through this, that you start questioning everything about yourself because you don't know. Sometimes you lose yourself in that. Like, you start to think, am I crazy? Am I this? Am I that? And yeah,
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I mean, yeah, I couldn't have said it better because it does. And it's amazing what we again, the inspiration behind it, toxic work, if you will, kind of, well, maybe not toxic, maybe just a bad work situation. I just call them toxic because they all seem to evolve into toxic like that, right?
yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
see, other people write about boyfriends. We write about toxic relationships here and in the aspect of work.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right, so I'll play a little bit of that. So we'll be right back, everyone.
Midnight, and you're still not home. Same nights, same familiar song. I've tried, but all the good is gone. I cry while I sit alone, wondering how we got here, wondering where you are, wondering if you're with her while I'm home with a broken heart. You say I am acting crazy. I say something's not right lately. Where has your heart gone, baby? I think something's up. Pretend everything is fine, but I know it's her on your mind. I hear all your silent stares while you act like you still care. Why can't you just admit it? Is she just a fling? Are you falling for her? And where does that leave me? You say I am acting crazy. I say something's not right lately. Where has your heart gone, baby? I think something's up.
And we're back again, everyone. So the last song that I'd like to talk about, because I picked all the songs, of course, because you're so nice to let me do that, uh, is By This Time Next Year. Now, I loved lyrically, I was like, it caught me. It just held me there the whole time. So tell me, where did that stem from?
Yeah. So it actually stemmed from so I really went back and forth with whether I should even put this song out there. Um, and the reason was because this literally came from my journal. I I had had a really awful 2019, and then 2020, of course, added to it. It was the cherry on top, and so by the end of that year, this was actually what I wrote on New Year's Eve, 2020, and it was basically a promise to myself because of everything that had happened. Like, you're gonna move forward from this. You're gonna get through it. You're gonna survive it, and literally by this time next year, you're not gonna look at all this and be crying and wondering what you're gonna do. Like and so I think for me, this was a song just like this pulls from my faith because I always believe that if it doesn't end good, then it's not the end. And so for me, like, this was really just sort of like almost a prayer in a way. It was my conversation with God in a way to say, I don't know how I'm getting there, but I'm getting there. And so that's really what it was. And also, it was sort of it honestly is my letter to some people of just saying, like, yeah, you thought you had me, and you thought this and you thought that, and you really hurt me, but I'm more than that. Like, I'm more than what you've done. And so it was really just me coming back from that and saying, I know I've got a future, and I know that it's bright, and I know that I just have to keep believing in what I'm doing. So
Well, I'm really glad you decided to release it because it is a very good song. I love that it brings the hope. Like you were saying, it may be from your journal. It was very personal.
yeah,
And I'm sure there will be a lot of people that can relate to this
I
because it
hope
is
so.
hopeful. It is that, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, how I'm getting there, whatever. Like same thing, and sometimes it's like we all have those doubts in our mind,
Yeah.
but no matter what, we're human. We have those, we overthink sometimes. It's bad. Don't
Well,
overthink.
and one of the things with this song was it's different. It's verses. It's not, it doesn't have a chorus or anything like that. It's verses. And I went back and forth with whether to throw in a bridge, throw in a chorus, something. And it didn't feel right.
Mhm.
And part of it was just even with that little instrumental bridge in it, we
Mhm.
left some of these background vocals bleeding through, and part of that was kind of to be resonant of like representative of, like, those voices coming back to haunt you,
Mhm.
and that you keep going even though, like, you have this playing in your head, you keep going. So yeah, so it's different, and I think that that's one reason that I really love it and I can appreciate it because, I mean, it's probably the rawest of any of my songs, as far as just I put it out there and hope it does, hope it sticks for somebody. But if it doesn't, then if nothing else, it's my statement. So
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think people definitely resonate with this song because, like I said, that was when I heard it lyrically, I was like, and a lot of times, the first time I'll listen, just it'll kind of be like music. I'll be working, so I won't be focused on lyrics because I'm
yeah,
reading at work or doing whatever I have to do. But when I actually sit down and I listen to it lyrically and the whole song, and it's like I said, you can feel the hope in the song, and then that determination, that perseverance, and that's, I think people just relate to that so much. I mean, I know I do because, like I said, there are times where you just feel like, okay, I've had enough today. I'm like, what do I do?
yeah,
How do I, and even in the day sometimes, so it's
definitely.
a beautiful song.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we'll let everyone else check it out, get a little taste of it, so then that way they can go to your link and purchase and stream on Spotify and all the good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
This time next year, I hope I'm finally over you. And instead of these tears, I'll be happy again. Won't question every move I make. Wonder why you chose to break this heart. It will all be so clear by this time next year. This time next year, whenever someone mentions your name, I won't pretend not to hear from the fear of going insane. I won't question all the reasons why. Wonder why you said goodbye. I'll no longer think there's something wrong with me by this time next year. Over you, all the shit you have said, all the stupid things that you do. I realize there's more to me now than there ever was with you. It will all be so clear by this time next year. Oh, this time next year.
Well, welcome back again, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you, again, go check out the links below. Leave some comments for Jennifer and me. And we have some good news. Jennifer will be taking over the Facebook on August 18th. So you can catch her on the Crazy Women Country Facebook. And we will try to share everything over to Instagram as well. But you should catch her live. Have lots of fun. And thank you again, Jennifer, for being here. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And as I said before, you're always welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Bye. If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.